Anyway, this features a introduction video, which is great. It's black and white. It's old film looking, and it shows the map. It's very cool. It's the first one I've ever seen. The only one that exists that I know of. See how I saved myself there?
That was good.
And if you really want to know about the map, ask Sigma. He knows all about the map.
So, can people not figure out how to actually get the movie in game, like they do?
I just think it's a lot of. I just think, well, for one thing, I didn't know that you could do it. I knew that Valve, of course, could do it, right? But I didn't know that they gave users the functionality of doing it.
Right.
Also, I think that it's beyond a lot of people's ability,
comprehension.
You know, I mean, it's like you're a map maker, you're not a video maker too. But obviously this guy was.
I wonder if he could like email them to get them to load his video into their into that map.
I'm sure they would respond because they're really good about responding to emails.
They've responded to every email I've sent them.
Yeah.
With this fabulous silence that I've grown to love from them.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to talk about this Sigma? Otherwise, I'm just going to skim your comments and steal your words and call them my own.
Well, I can talk about it. I've probably played Steel more than most of you, all of you.
What are you trying to say?
Hey, what are you getting right there?
Hey, at least he's honest.
I'm bringing the rage in, you see. So I have to make
Excellent
comments. Okay, well, I can talk a bit about Steel, and I'll have tips and all that good stuff.
Excellent.
Well, okay, so the first thing I can recommend for you to do is load up Steel on a private server, like right now, and walk around it for 10 or 15 minutes. And like just switch between red and blue and cap each point and see how it changes, because the map is not very hard to get around, but if you don't know how to get around, you're going to be lost forever. Like, I've played games on it where our medics are stuck over at D and we're trying to cap C, and well, that fails, obviously.
How many points is this?
There's 5 points.
Okay.
It's attack defense, and I'll get into that in a bit. Spawn moves around and stuff, so I'd really recommend familiarizing yourself with how you do that, because the map's pretty quick to get around, but if you don't know, you'll be useless because
What am I doing? And then there's big signs that say A, and you'll end up in an intersection. I'll be like, where am I going? I don't know what's going on here. And then you run up and you're on some battlements and there's a window and you can't quite squeeze through it. And you're like, I can't get out there. What am I supposed to do now?
Yeah. You can actually get out of that window, but whatever.
How do you know what window I'm talking about?
Because there's only one battlements and one window in the map.
Wow.
Don't be mean.
Remember, the raid. I have to. Spencer, I hate you guys.
Man, you do Spencer pretty well.
You do Spencer better than Spencer does, Spencer.
It's Spencer over at your house.
Yeah, I've got him locked up. That's why he said he's sick.
Nice.
Anyway, back to Steel. I lost my train of thought already.
That's okay. Spencer does that too.
Something about a
I guess I can just. Blue is attacking, red's defending, and red is trying to launch a rocket or something. That's their goal, and it's gonna launch in like 10 minutes or whatever, and blue's trying to stop it. So blue can attack the last point E and cap it right off the start, and all the other points A, B, C, and D you have to cap in order, like A first, B second, etc. And they make it easier to cap E in different ways. And basically what it is A opens up another door that goes to E just from A, and it opens that door very slowly. So you have to wait like 20 or 30 seconds if you're standing on A waiting for that door to open right away. And it also opens a quick door to go to B from point A, which you're only going to use to attack B right away. B moves the defender's spawn a little bit further away from E, but not that much further. It's just kind of to the other side of the room. C is the big difference. It makes of a giant pit of death. If you fall in, you will die, and that's a pretty major gameplay component later on.
You know what I learned though? I've learned that
yeah.
no matter how many times you fall down that pit, your stacked up bodies won't ever fill the pit up.
Oh, yeah.
So you've been in there a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think everybody, like every time I play with Mint, he falls in there. Like I've seen at least 5 occasions where I've been playing with Mint, and he's been running along the bridge as it extends, but the bridge moves really slowly, so he'll just run right off the end and die in the pit. I've done that too. I think I've lost at least 4 or 5 Ubers to that pit. It's worse than the train.
Well,
Ooh.
my whole thing is there. You know, there is the not doing anything, and someone will kind of brush past me and knock me into the pit, and that's very
Yeah.
frustrating.
Well, you really have to be careful. I mean, especially when you're playing medic at point E, you can't really run backwards because you're going to fall into the pit if you do. So, it's bad. That pit is my enemy. I think it kills any other environmental hazard.
Now, there's
put
one thing.
together.
There's one thing that you didn't mention about point B, and that was that it does a
Right. To
D
see
and
gets opened when you take A, but it opens extremely slowly.
okay.
So, like if you sit on A for another 30 seconds, it will open, but you usually don't notice that because it's better to.
Just stay on A to keep it opening, or
No.
it'll slowly open
No,
throughout the match.
once you cap, it slowly opens, and later it will be fully open, and it'll
Okay.
stay that way.
But that B to C door is actually fairly important. It's going to take a minute to open, and what a lot of people will do is they'll dive through E to get to C, but that takes you through a lot of death.
Right.
That's true. Although it's usually better right after you cap E if you get your entire team just to, or cap right after you cap B. You want to take that route through E because the door is really slow going to C.
Yes, it's another 30-second thing. And
It'll
mention snipers and sucking, and that's all you really needed to say.
Yeah, you can tune out the rest of what I say in this podcast. Snipers suck. The end. Okay, so I guess defense then is they get confused as to what they should do, and what they should do is either take E or take D. Don't try to do both, because the defense has a nice little hallway that goes right between those two, and it's really easier for their medics to just sit in there, and the soldiers and heavies and whatever can just run back and forth between those 2 points and easily stop uncoordinated pushes going on both of those. So some people are of the opinion that once you got C, it's all in, and E, try to get it. I'm more of a fan of trying to take D, but I don't really care. As long as your entire team is trying for the same point, you'll do better than having like 2 soldiers and a scout trying to cap D while your medics in a pyro or demo or something are going at E. That just does not work. So what else can I say?
Now you were talking
I
about
guess-
some tactics on the last point in the pit.
Oh yeah, Ubering at the last point sucks because any soldier, if you have to, well, often you have to use an Uber to kill the guns around E, but you want to try to do that as much away from that pit as you can. Like you want to get off that bridge because you will die and you will lose your Uber and you will be embarrassed.
Yes,
Because
you
I don't
will
know.
be. I'll vouch for you. Yes, I have fallen down that pit with an Uber. I was glowing blue when I died.
And as defense, that's a good thing to know. It's a good tactic to just try to keep blowing people into the pit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really try to kill anybody except for heavies when I'm playing soldier there, because you can't really move a heavy unless you get a crit rocket, and by then he's dead anyways. But everybody else, you can just juggle into the pit, and you don't need to worry about killing them. You can just watch them fall. And if you're winning by a lot, you can jump after them with your shovel.
Humiliate you farther.
Fast enough to hit somebody with my shovel. Like, I've been like rocket jumping down the pit with the shovel trying to catch up to them, but I never quite make it. So maybe someday I will, and I'll post a YouTube video or something.
Bit more. I went too far.
I think that's you got a good basis, I think, for the map.
Yeah.
And I think one thing we should probably announce too is we're thinking about using the recon as more of a talk about the maps we've played each week instead of actually going in and detailing maps. We think it'll be a little more interesting and save some time in our week of stuff too.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
There's one point you've got down here that I think is worth talking about. And I got the attacks on E. You don't want to just give them let them to mount a credible attack. It just needs to be something to keep them on their toes. One scout or one soldier or something like that.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. I mean, it's really easy. If you try to do a full attack on E, you're going to come across the fact that they can hit you into the pit. Their respawn at that, like before you've capped A, their respawn is a ramp up. So their soldiers are going to be shooting down at you, which makes it really easy for them. Their resupply, you're kind of screwed if you try to do a full attack right to E from the start. But it is really good, especially in public games, to just send a scout there, because a lot of times what will happen is one scout will step on E, and then like all 4 soldiers or whatever that are guarding A will run over to kill the scout because they're not coordinating properly. Or better yet, like right when the map started and everybody was lost on it all the time, you could send people on there and actually manage to cap it because they didn't know how to run there. So if you're playing with people who don't know the map, they'll be like running around at point B while you're capping E, and they're just going to be useless. So it's good to confuse the enemy, but you're not going to cap it. So don't try to cap it. Just try to make them come stop you.
Yes. Yes. I would get lost. I'd be on defense, and then I'd be trying to find my way to E, and I would have trouble finding E from the respawn. That's how lost you'll get. The first time you play this map, you'll be so lost. You'll be like, which way do I go? I don't understand. Yeah, it's
and it's especially bad if Jolly Eskimo is in the game, because his spray right now is a giant B sign that he'll spray over, like he'll spray it over the E sign or whatever. So he'll be like, wait, I'm going to B, and you'll be at the wrong place. And that's brilliant. His favorite.
Awesome. we gotta remember that for matches and stuff. Everybody have a different letter.
That's a good point.
Start spraying them.
Yeah. Spray it all up in your spawn right at the start, and then when the teams switch, they'll still be there and they'll get confused.
Just switch A and B. Where are we going? Put A on both of them.
Okay. Well, that's I think that's a fairly good assessment. Anybody else? On the loud.
Take a break.
Sure, let's take a
Just
break. Clappy Jones.
take a 5. And people say it's like laggy.